Man, is gay cruising good for society? Is gay cruising good for society? Let's answer this question with the help of our non-binary friend here. Let's get to the bottom of this. How does gay cruising help society? What are the benefits of of public sex with strangers, specifically specifically gay cruising? Let's find out. You can already tell this is gonna be great because of the haircut. You know she's gonna have some good answers.
I mean, this whole shot is just great. Like, you can really tell a lot about a person from their room. Like, they got the flag over here, the barely stocked bookshelf, which is probably filled with a bunch of bullshit that's not even worth reading. Like, you can tell a lot about her from this picture.
What's the fit? What's this look? Is this
Uh,
like a it like looks like a windbreaker, but then also something from the 1800s at the same time, and then also overalls.
I think it's a blouse with a vest on.
Where would you even buy that?
Like, I don't know. But yeah, you see, it's like a feminine blouse with like a male suit vest on it.
I'm already confused.
Not even a second in, and we're already going.
An
I'm
hour
Trash,
long
and
video.
I
You
have
say yeah, an hour long video.
We're never gonna get through this ever.
Hi, I'm Trash, and I have no skin in the gay cruising game. I'm not a gay man in any way that matters, and
Well, great. We can wrap it up right there.
it mostly pertains to gay men, right? Well, actually, gay cruising has effects, widespread effects, on not just gay men, but on the larger society. And in my research, what I found was that most of those effects are a net positive for society, for both gay men and the wider society. So, let's talk about that. If you don't believe me, keep watching. Well, I have no skin in this game, as I said, but I did purchase several books for this research, and I will never financially recover from that. So, reading ramen.
Imagine spending exorbitant amount of money to study gay cruising.
I know. I don't even want to know how this quote unquote research was conducted.
Right? I'm gonna need to see that study. Actually, on second thought, you know what? No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't need to see that study.
I don't need to see that study.
Baby. This is Times Square Red, Times Square Blue by Samuel Delaney. It is a memoir
Oh no, not this guy.
study.
I was like, is that the Delaney guy like I'm familiar with?
He wrote Hog,
Oh,
the worst book ever. It's the same dude.
so the research is already tainted.
That's a very yeah. Yeah, we'll go with tainted, yeah.
Hey, you told me to censor. I'm trying my best here.
I don't even I just I guess we could just throw up some synopsis of Hog from Wikipedia. It's the most foulest, graphic, violent, explicit, I don't even know what you'd call it.
We'll have you flash
Fiction
in
book.
some like some Wikipedia synopsis summary.
So the guy who's the author of this, what is widely regarded as one of the most disgusting books ever, also wrote this research. So, I don't know. Let's keep going. Let's see what his research entails, I guess.
And history, like an anthropological study and history of these porn theaters and the gay cruising scene in New York City and its rise and its decline as through the 80s. So he talks about his own personal experiences going to these porn theaters where men would cruise, and it's amazing. So I'm going to quote this a lot, and I use this a lot. And this one is Park Cruising by Marcus McCann. I reference this one a lot too. I also bought some on Kindle that I don't have here, but I'm going to link and reference all the books below that I reference in this video. I did a lot of research, so keep watching. So let's dive right in. What is cruising?
It's
What is
just so weird to see a woman be like excited to talk about gay cruising. It's so weird.
I don't know. But here's the new what the new rainbow ideology does to people. Now you have a woman who's literally obsessed with gay male sex. It's weird.
gay cruising? How do I get into it? Where do people do it? Cruising is the act of going out into public to seek casual, anonymous sexual encounters, or generally casual, generally anonymous sexual encounters, and going out into a public place to do this. This can be done, we think of park cruising a lot, or cruising in bathrooms, but this can be done in nightclubs, sex clubs, bathhouses, parks, like campgrounds. There's all kinds of cruising.
See, now my question for the gays is, why can't you do this in the designated spots that are already designed for adults to like get together and find each other to hook up, like bars and stuff? Like that's the entire purpose for like bars and clubs to exist.
I mean, there's clearly some benefit to the rest of society that we're just too unenlightened. They're doing it for the rest of our health, I guess. That's why it has to be public.
Scenes where this can be done, the porn theaters that Samuel Delaney went to. But what we mainly think of is like outdoor park cruising. Like George Michael was arrested doing this a long time ago.
That is one hell of a photo. He looks coked out. Oh, he looks like he's riding the lightning, bro.
And bathroom cruising, like cruising in the bathroom at airports, is what people think of a lot. Like Senator Larry Craig, a Republican senator, was arrested.
She's gonna bring up the senator. There's like this happened once, and they never let us live it down. They're like, this happened. This that one guy was like apparently cruising. He was this Republican senator. I think he was from maybe South Dakota. I'm not sure, but he was like tapping his foot under under like the stall. Like he was like leaning. He's in a bathroom in an airport, and he like put his foot under the other stall and was like tapping, and apparently that's like a signal for cruising. So he was cruising for anonymous gay sex, and he was a Republican senator. And this always comes up every time they ever discuss cruising. They have to bring this guy up just to like, I don't know, criticize Republicans or something.
Yeah, gotta take the pot shots when they're available.
Of course.
Bathroom in 2007. And we kind of think of that when we think of cruising. But what we generally think of is gay men. Like, we don't think about how heterosexuals engage in this, but they do. Heterosexual people engage in cruising behaviors. And we don't really think about that. We mostly think about gay men. I was going to say also like bisexual men, but no one really thinks about bisexual men, do they?
No, it's just that no one tries to make the case for straight people that they aren't degenerates when they do it.
Yeah,
Like-
that's definitely true.
Like, it's
And
widely
also not
accepted.
happening with the same. Well, I was gonna say it's not happening with the same frequency either. Like you can't just like cruise for chicks like this. You know, there's kind of a barrier to entry, and that barrier is being over 6 feet tall.
Well, I mean, if you're like, you know, if you're Chad, you don't have to cruise. They come to you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fundamentally not. I kind of wonder what example she's going to try and bring up for that, but I would challenge that and say it's not even cruising.
Yeah,
Like it's not even going to be.
Like, as far as I know, like, straights really don't engage in cruising culture. Mostly
Yeah.
because, like, again, like I was saying, women are pretty averse to what cruising culture entails. Like, 'cause they would get nothing out of it, right? Except sexual gratification, which is already super easy for them to get anyway.
Yeah. It doesn't like there's no necessity for it to be like public. Especially not, and it's not really like pervasive. Like this isn't really like, oh, we only think about gay men when we're talking about this. It's like no, like this is not like a defining, or even this is not really like a relevant aspect of, you know, this is not like a major aspect of like heterosexual sexuality, like of heterosexual experiences. Like no, most people like don't cruise. This isn't like a feature of your sexuality that's really important. It's not a thing most people experience. Gay men, on the other hand, different story. But let's keep going.
I think about bisexual men a lot. The discourse around cruising is that it's sort of this fraught, dirty, clandestine acts that's done in the shadows in secret. Generally, the person engaging in it is perceived as like dirty. Cheating on their partner is something we commonly associate with
Well,
cruising.
that's because that's really the only reason why you would do it, right? Like, let's keep it real. The only reason you would cruise is because you have something to hide and don't want people to find out that you're doing something. Otherwise, you would just take them to your house.
Yeah. Literally in public. Like you can't even go back and get a room.
Like, you don't want there to be any traces or evidence of this happening.
This is like even beyond like a Tinder hookup, really. This is like an actual complete stranger, just some random guy you meet apparently, and literally within minutes. Yes, it is like definitionally kind of dirty. It's like very high risk sexual behavior. You don't know this person, you don't. There's no trust or mutual respect. Probably not disclosing to you whether or not they have any STDs or anything like that. It is kind of, you can't make this like a safe practice.
And like promiscuous, they have STIs, they're ashamed of their behavior, or they should be. There's this whole like plot line in
Well, and not even like to even skip all that. Isn't it just fucking illegal?
Yeah.
Like bottom line.
Yeah.
I think that's why
I mean,
people
if
are
you get
against
caught,
it,
I
right?
guess. I was gonna say, I guess it's only illegal if you get caught. Whatever.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's
like a later
indecent.
season
Yeah.
of Riverdale, where their token gay man character engages in cruising, and there's this whole like little thing where he's like, I'm so ashamed of being gay, and that's why I do it. And that's kind of what we think of. We think of it as this like clandestine, shameful act where you're cheating on your partner and picking up diseases from random dirty men in the bushes. I forgot how terrible that show got towards the end. Was that from the 2023 writers' strike, or was that just like general garbage? I'm not gonna look it up, so like let me know. There's also this aspect where we see it as humiliating. Like people who are caught cruising are expected to be ashamed of it, humiliated, like Republican Senator Larry Craig. Or, when George Michael was arrested, there's like this parade, this pomp and circumstance when someone famous or like powerful is caught doing it, where we're like, laugh at them, and it's treated as this big joke, like this, big joke, and not as a legitimate behavior that it's fine to engage in, and you shouldn't be ashamed of it. It's never really treated.
Well, I mean, that's I was gonna say, that's a bit not fair because straights are looked like if a straight celebrity, was seen, fucking some lady in the bushes, that's not his wife, he would still be shamed and raked across the coals for it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, this is like, it's really disturbing. Like, this is just like a legitimate thing that people do. People just have sex in public. Like, this is like incredibly. You just want, like, this woman wants like no boundaries on anything ever. There are there's like a complete, like, no standards at all. Like, these people, I don't even really know what to say. Like, if you're just saying, like, public sex is fine, like, I mean, even if it's occurring at night, which I assume it was kind of most of the time, like, there's still a possibility, since it's a public area, that like a child or something could be walking by and see it. Like, there's no sense of decency or privacy, and this is why it's regarded as shameful. Like, people who are doing this do not have the self-control to go back to their apartments or whatever, or do this in like they literally have to, literally you're defending.
Well, their defense to this is to the child thing is because I have a couple comments in the comment section if I was arguing with people about that, but their defense to that is well, what kid is walking around at midnight in the park anyway? And it's like, all right, well, what's more illegal? The 12-year-old walking around the park at midnight, or you fucking in the bushes at midnight?
Yeah. I mean, and again, this is assuming that it only occurred at night too, which is
Right,
like
which
it's
it doesn't. That's a
probably
huge. That's a huge. What's the word I'm looking for? Like that's just, like that's just you got to take that with a grain of salt, right? Like that's not guaranteed.
yeah. That's also like not it's not something that's necessarily always the case. Um, I mean, it's really just kind of I don't even really know what to say. I mean, there just can't be any sort of you can't engage like man. This is really I'm struggling for words that won't get me banned. Like what? And we've also seen like see libs of TikTok posting stuff and stuff that goes around it. You've seen like I'm sure this audience is familiar with stuff that like libs of TikTok has posted of stuff that like goes on at pride parades where they're like literal, actual, extreme public sex acts like in now in broad daylight. Like there was a video that was going around that was like I don't even want to describe it on this platform, but it was like literally, this is this sort of culture that apparently this woman wants to cultivate and promote. There wouldn't really be a problem with this if it was basically just going on behind closed doors, because then everyone would would like, the rest of society would not be exposed to it. And then we wouldn't have to have these idiotic conversations where we have someone justifying
that way. It's always something that's like gross, dirty, and should be secret and maybe not be happening at all, ideally. There's actually a great episode of You're Wrong About that came out around the time I started researching this video, which discusses park cruising. And Marcus McCann, the writer of Park Cruising, was on that episode discussing George Michael, the singer who was arrested for park cruising or for cruising several times. And it kind of details his life and how he was sort of an average picture of someone who engages in cruising. He did it for his entire life, since he was a young man all the way through to like an older man. He did it while he was in long-term relationships, and his long-term partners knew he was engaging in this behavior. He was just this average picture of a park cruiser, someone who was kind of in and out of the scene their entire life. It was something they enjoyed doing, and they did it regardless of whether they were partnered. And it seemed like he was honest with his partners about the fact that he enjoyed this kind of sexual behavior, which is fairly common in the gay community, actually. But the media backlash suggested that he was disgusting for doing this. He should be ashamed. It was humiliating, disgusting, and that people who are engaging in that behavior are disgusting perverts, and they should be put away, locked up for doing it. They're gross, and the rest of us shouldn't have to look at them. But the people who engage in cruising and the people who study it disagree. People who engage in and study cruising behaviors think that this is actually a net good for society, that this promotes social good, and we should look at it as a vital, necessary behavior that improves society. So say you want to get into cruising, you want to start cruising. How do you do that? How do you go about that? Well, back in the day, you just had to know someone. You had to know to know. You had to go to a physical queer space and talk to older gay people, and they would tell you about it. In the 60s and 70s, they started printing out these guides to gay cruising spaces. They were gay newspapers and stuff. But one of the most popular was called Bob Dameron's Address Book, or Bob Dameron's Guides, where they printed out these gay cruising guides that had gay spaces, gay bars, gay clubs, and cruising spaces in them, along with information like the hanky codes and stuff like that. Nowadays, most people find these kind of spaces via the internet. So Marcus McCann in Park Cruising learned about a lot of these spaces by talking to people on Grindr.
Okay.
He would message people and be like, hey, have you...
This is kind of weird. So there's just accumulated gay knowledge. That's what we're up against. There was literally this book.
An encyclopedic knowledge of everything gay.
Wait, an encyclopedic knowledge of what? All things gay?
Yep, all things gay.
This is the yeah, the bathroom in the back of the bar over on 145th Street is that's where the glory hole is. It's just there are a couple phone numbers written down there if you want a good time. Back in the day, we didn't have Grinder back in the day. We had to go out. Wait, remember that old man? Hold on, it's a Family Guy clip. Hold on.
I feel like an old guy who's reliving his youthful shenanigans.
Tell me about when you were young, Grandpa.
Oh, Sonny, those were crazy times. My friends and I were out of control. We used to give each other wet willies and funny arms. We'd play dandy balls and legs a spread and penis butt.
Sounds kinda gay, Grandpa.
It was gay, everyone was. But back then we were called pole fancies. It was real good old-fashioned grab the nearest tree and hold on for dear life gay. Not today's fancy featherbed thread count gay. People got hurt back then.
That's gay.
Yeah, it was pretty gay.
He ever tried this cruising space, and they would tell him about it. YouTuber Patrick Moreno, he actually does a whole lot of videos about gay cruising, where he talks about like cruising in the woods, cruising in the bushes, cruising at the beach, in the bathhouse. He also has a lot of videos about like being gay over 40. He actually is a great resource. I just would look at his YouTube channel if you're interested in that kind of thing. But yeah, mostly people find these spaces online now. There are Reddit groups, there's forums, Facebook groups, like all kinds of social media groups where people talk about where to cruise, how to cruise, the vibe and culture in certain spaces. And that's pretty much how it works today. Before social media and the internet, people had to either go to physical spaces or they had to buy these like gay guides, these books, learn about it in like gay newspapers, or just go to physical spaces and interact with people in real life, which we should probably be doing now. Like, that's probably the best way to learn about this stuff now too, but we don't really do it as much anymore, and we really should. Pokemon Go to the gay bar. So what is this kind of casual sex good for anyway? Why do people do this kind of thing? Well, it's pro-social behavior, feels good. And like, if we look at, other animals, they engage in this kind of stuff too. Like chimps do it to encourage group unity. So, what does all of this animal behavior have to do with people cruising nowadays?
Okay, hold on.
Not a goddamn thing.
Animals do a lot of things. That does not mean humans should also do them.
Right, I hate that argument.
Yeah. She said not a lot, though. I wonder where she's going with this. I wonder what she's about to say.
Because there is no unnatural behavior. People want to categorize gay sex as natural or unnatural, especially, but that doesn't exist. You can't apply the moniker of unnatural to human behavior because all human behavior exists within nature. Sure, it exists within a society too. That's because we live in a society. But there is no unnatural or natural human behaviors. It's all natural behavior because we are animals reacting to stimuli. We're fundamentally incapable of doing anything unnatural. That doesn't exist. People are natural
it's the same. It's basically what I expected. It's just so that just is the naturalistic fallacy. Just because it's natural doesn't make it good. And like murder is natural. It doesn't mean we should just go around stabbing people. and just because I guess public, quote unquote public, animals don't even really have public and private. So
no behavior can be abhorrent to nature, or it wouldn't exist. Nothing is unnatural about human behavior. Sure, some behavior exists in some societies more than others, but especially gay sex, that exists everywhere. Gay sex cannot be defined as unnatural or natural. It's just a behavior. You can't categorize things that way. We can categorize things in all kinds of other ways. We can say harmless and harmful, good and bad, liberal and conservative, all kinds of other categories we can put things in, and we do. But all of those, like my gender, exist on a spectrum, in my opinion, and the opinion of many authors, anthropologists, scientists, doctors, cruisers.
Trust the
Cruising
experts.
does much more good for society than it does harm. And I'm going to talk about that. But first, let's talk about some of the history of gay cruising. Where did it come from? How long has it been around? So, like the sex they're having, a lot of the history of cruising is oral. It's spread through oral traditions. You kind of have to learn from someone who was involved in the scene. You had to meet people in real life to hear about it and learn from those people. Often this was like, you'd meet people in gay bars and talk to them, and they would tell you about the history. The reason that a lot of this wasn't written down anywhere is because it was just illegal to do this for a lot of times in history. People couldn't, write down about their experiences of cruising because that would be evidence in their trial if they did, like Oscar Wilde. But people back in the day, before, the modern surveillance state we live in, they actually had a lot more opportunity for freedom in public spaces. Like, they could be in a public space, but unsurveilled, and engage in activities there, even if they were legal, and not be caught. They could just utilize public spaces to do what they wanted to do, and not have to worry about this legal backlash that people today face. This was a lot more normal back then. Like, we didn't have the surveillance state. The expectation of privacy was a lot better. You were unlikely to be observed in many places. So the earliest cruising culture that I read about, there's gay people long before this, but the culture that we could describe as an equivalent to modern cruising that I read about was in 15th century Florence. Yeah, 15th century. In Florence, there was this culture of gay men going out at night and doing whatever they wanted. In this time period, women weren't really allowed to leave their homes after dark. If you were a woman and you went out at night, that was pretty much a crime. You were labeled as a sex worker or some kind of deviant, or just assumed to be doing some kind of criminal act, likely adultery or sex.
Well, that's because what really, without the modern conventions that we have to keep people safe, what reason would a woman have to be out that late? Like, it's really putting her more at risk than anything.
I don't know why, but my first thought was could you imagine if you were walking around at dusk and you saw a woman and you're like, "Are you a hooker?" And you're just walking by her, some random woman.
Even women now are scared to go out at night. I walk past a woman when I'm walking in the city at night, me, right, walking behind them, they start speeding up. They're scared. Yeah. Imagine without streetlights or anything.
I'm sure you know the experience of also trying to slow down or deliberately attempting to avoid women so they don't feel uncomfortable.
No, I'll purposely speed up to try and catch up to them to throw them off.
Okay.
Just to scare them, and then walk past them.
Do you like sprinting at them?
No, I've never sprinted at a woman before. That's crazy. I've thought about it, but I've never done it.
Just run past them. I got other things to do. I have somewhere to be.
Out the fucking way, bitch.
I remember this one time. There's this someone I knew. I was in college and I had this political science class, and there's this girl I knew in it. And I was walking one of my friends home, or not home, but back to his dorm, and he was absolutely blitzed. And we were walking around campus at night, and I ran into this girl, and he suddenly started trying to talk to her, and she was so horrified. I'm like, please, I'm just trying to get. I was like, hi there, pretending everything's normal, trying to get him, trying to get him back to his dorm, and then she never looked at me again. I was like, oh boy, that was.
Oh man.
Even that alone, he didn't even do it. He was clearly blissed. I walked him, I ushered him away, I was guiding him away, but that experience alone was so traumatic for her. She never looked me in the eyes again. I was like, damn. I guess it's hard to be a woman on a college campus.
It's over, bro.
Getting chased by Yao Ming down.
Honestly,
the
I would be scared of that. Not gonna lie. Imagine that lanky motherfucker running down after me at night. It's kind of scary.
alley. I'd be like, "Why are you so tall as an Asian? I don't understand."
Freak of nature.
Anyway, this is an hour-long video about cruising. If you want us to talk about, if you want us to review more, please leave a comment below. Otherwise, this has been literally so cringe. Don't have sex in public. That's disgusting. Get control of your sexuality. Have some restraint. Don't listen to this non-binary weirdo. And Red Channels will catch you in the next one.